success of this, would you continue doing releases like that down the line? Are you now and from now on is this going to be random singles every now and then?
I think the next thing will be a record. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Kind of another way that these songs came about the way they did was that we had kind of made a record, had some stuff that was written right after we had recorded. So we were still kind of had some momentum going from that, and we just didn't want to lose it. So we grabbed these songs and just recorded them without knowing what the release would be. So they're kind of a follow-up to the record. It's going to be different, and I'm not sure what it's going to be. It was just kind of to tide me over, and ideally some people who want to listen.
And I mean, you say you don't really know what the next thing's going to be. Is that, at least is it going to be within East of Mountain Time? Is it going to be a solo effort? Are you going to be working with anyone else?
Going to be working with some new people. Most of the band that recorded on, it changes a lot, but the band that recorded on our last record, Mountain Country, none of them are in the band anymore. That was 3 other musicians. And then these 3 songs had a slightly different lineup of people, and now we're working on new material with my friend Dale Donaldson on bass, who does a lot of our artwork, and my biggest supporter, makes this band. So I love having him as part of it. It's kind of brings a fresh energy to it that I think I needed. And he just introduced me to a guitar player who started named Bill. So we're kind of slowly putting together a whole new band, and I'm very excited about that. I like the idea of having, some new tools to use, and some new things to write before, and now I'm kind of writing for a different band, but it's still Eastern Mountain Time.
Right. Well, you got that core of you, which is the kind of constant. You say it's going to be fun writing for this new band, and this will be kind of almost stage 3 of your, various evolutions as a band. How has that changed from Mark 1 to Mark 2, and how do you think it's going to change from Mark 3?
Well, when the band started, which was in about 2015, again, it was a totally different group of people. And I was still kind of figuring out how to write for a band, and it was loud and kind of sloppy. I think it was great. I had a lot of fun doing it, but that was kind of more of like a noisy bar band. So that was kind of phase 1, and then phase 2 we had this country band, bass, drums, and pedal steel guitar, and a lot of piano stuff. And so I kind of we set out to really write a country album with that lineup, that always wanted to make one. And I think we did. I feel, so I don't want to do it again, really. There's always going to be, I think, country influence and folk singer-songwriter influence in my songs. But I kind of did the thing I wanted to do, and now I'm just putting together new ideas. I'm really not sure. It's hard. It's not my natural instinct is to kind of write country songs, and I'm not doing that right now.
What are you writing instead?
Get out of the breakup song genre. I think I've been in that kind of realm for a pretty long time. Good sad country song about a breakup gets me almost every time. So that's kind of what I'm trying to move away from, trying to figure out maybe what else I have to say. And that's really hard.
Well, I was going to say that there is a lot of heartbreak in your music. So I was wondering if relationships are the lens you tend to project your creativity through, or you have other lenses in your arsenal. And based on what you're saying, kind of where you're looking to now in terms of your life, and what elements of your life are you bringing into your new creative efforts?
Yeah, that's a great question. That has been my lens for a long time in songwriting, and largely in my identity also. And things have settled down a little bit. So now what I really want, I want to find a way to really write just about who I am and where I am at in a, hopefully relatable way, about in every regards except for romantically, basically. Like I have a rich life that I've never figured out how to write about. But it's a struggle. It just requires going deep. I think a breakup sentiment, because it's so raw, it's pretty easy for me at least to access it and pull something out of it. It's kind of right on the surface. So kind of going down in that into like what it is to be human, or say something about my existence, just requires a lot more digging. And it's going okay.
Well, I do feel that as breakups, as you were saying, you are so raw that it's easy to kind of tap into that creativity of that because of all the emotions on the surface.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're actually going to start examining yourself, well, you might have to have your therapist along for the creative ride, just in order for you to, kind of unpeel yourself. Well, I'd love to hear another song. So would you like to introduce it and take it away?
Yeah, of course. This next one I'm going to do is called Darker Now. It is one of the B-sides of this recent single. We recorded it, and it's kind of a fast song, a little bit outside of the country thing. I can't pull that off by myself now. But yeah, it's called Darker Now.
All right.
Another Betty after breakfast. Morning came and then it. I never much liked this, but I owe it ran. And once the house that I was born in, and now my mother on the phone. She says her new couch is a fold out. I could still come home. Crazy how it's come to this. It's darker now than I knew existed. But I go, I could go, I don't know. Guess I forgot to bring the chairs in, and now they're buried on. Will be months before the thaw, so for now they're gone. Crazy how it's come to this. It's gone now than I knew.
Darker Now there by Eastern Mountain Time. That song, again, has a lot of feelings to it. And I and I was wondering, with your pull towards country, is that because it has a tendency to kind of like allow for these kind of feelings as opposed to other genres which are, I know, maybe a little blunter with explaining these kind of emotions?
Yeah, I mean that is, I think that's something that just I value very highly. Like, I love rock. Kind of grew up with indie rock as like a genre, and I still love it. But when I kind of tapped into country and just, it's poetry, but it really just puts it on the line. There's not much that you have to dig into or analyze to figure out, like what might they mean by that. It's just right there, which I just think is very appealing. Yeah.
Do you ever get, and don't let me get you nervous, but ever get nervous or intimidated by kind of allowing your soul to be so open in live performances, or indeed when you release albums or records?
No. It generally brings me a sense of relief. I think, for me, putting it out there, therapeutic, that it kind of cuts through any embarrassment or nervousness I might have. I say, like, I would be a real mess if I didn't have this outlet of kind of melancholy, gut-wrenching songs, because I'm not a miserable person, and I believe that I would be if I didn't have this. So when I have the opportunity to share it, it's generally just a huge relief for me. The downside of that is when, you're playing a loud bar and no one's listening and you're putting it out there. That might be where it hurts more. Because, I'm going for it a little bit. But for the most part, it's a very positive experience for me.
Right. And I'm going to ask your opinion on this one. Dixieland is considered folk. So for you, and are you from the Northeast yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what differentiates folk to country? Especially as a couple of songs you've heard. I mean, admittedly, you are on your own doing an acoustic set, so it's obviously going to sound more folk. But what's the difference between the two for you?
I think the blunt honesty is where I found the difference. I found way before I found country music, when my music brain really turned on around like 12 or 13, folk music was kind of, for some reason, what I connected to emotionally the most at that time. And now I still love it. I have like affinity for it. Sometimes I just don't know what folks are talking about. I am a folk singer in a lot of ways, but I think for me it takes a really good folk singer to hit me on an emotional level, like a Bob Dylan or like what he's saying under layers, and it can still get into me somehow. But he's Bob Dylan.
Right. It's a high bar.
It's a very high bar. And a lot of other stuff, it just doesn't speak to me quite the same way. I still love the format, but I think lyrically is where I find that line. Musically, I find them very, very similar.
And it's not like modern folk modern country here we're talking about. We're not talking about trucks and Bibles and guns and dogs, and these kind of country.
It's mostly 1970s country. For sure. If there's a good one on Top 40 radio these days, I'll wear it out. But it's got to be the bar for Top 40 country for me is it better be really, really sad. Like, if it's going to be that kind of cheesy, overdone production with that kind of, just the image of Top 40 country, it's got to be pretty. Some people, I think, like Dierks Bentley is a country singer who I really admire. His singles are all silly, like Drunk on a Plane, kind of stupid stuff like that. But then he has, folks like Chris writing some of his tunes with him. there's a bit of a line, but for the most part, it's George Jones, and even older like Christofferson, the real classic guys.
And how do you feel about creating country around here? Do you find there's many people to be able to collaborate with, to work with you in terms of the country being their number one genre, or you find there's a bit of a dearth of country singers around here?
It's a little tough. The people I have, like the band who I recorded our album Mountain, all have very, very varying tastes in WAPT, but really none of the music they play or were playing outside of this band had kind of the same country sound to it. I can pull it out of people a little bit, but I don't think it's anyone's natural inclination that I've come across around here. The way I feel it is for me. There are some exceptions to that.
I mean, there's plenty of country radio stations kicking around there, so I've got to feel that out in a few country folk. Well, I'd love to hear another song. Where's this one from?
Yeah, I thought I'd play a new one that I haven't played at all.
I've got a big Heavy World exclusive.
It was a long time. It was a long writing process on this one for some reason. I just took a little bit, but finished it just recently. It's called On the Carolina Wind. And yeah, it goes like this.
All right.
Sweet tobacco rolling in on the Carolina wind. Come to find you where you've been. Sing you home. Sing all the stories ringing in dead trees, still towering like cities, like all your memories. You're gonna have to leave these when you go. Now you're not alone. That's plenty good for now. You can think on other roads. Just don't go. I never knew it well. In but a name. Time will, times do change. Sweet tobacco rolling in on Carolina wind. Come to find you where you've been. Come to sing.
On the Carolina Wind there by you. And you were mentioning regarding this song the writing process. For writing it was particularly difficult. What is your writing? What made that one particularly hard to write, and Where do you usually find that creative spark hits you during the day?
So this one I think took a long time because I started it to me very, I mean, it was just what was going on. I was driving with my partner Jenna through South Carolina on our way. We were just on a trip, and we had the windows down, and the air just smelled like tobacco plants. Which, I mean, say what you want, it smelled so gorgeous. Mm-hmm. It kind of brought me in. It felt like I was very present, and it was something really big that I was feeling. So then I had those waste this and just kind of write what comes next. Like I want to make sure I dive a little bit deeper. What took so long? I think I liked the first couple lines I came up with so much that I really wanted to make sure I got to the point that I was trying to get to. And that's kind of part of that my newer writing. Before my process they just came, and usually they came out of some suffering or some negative emotion, and I would get one line that I thought was just punch. And the thing about country songs is you can kind of find build around it. And most of the songs from our album, that was kind of what I did. I found like a thought hurt, and I built from there. So it's a very different process, and it's something I'm having to learn as I do it, which is exciting. It was almost too easy before. I had like a lot of years just because I was putting myself in questionable situations so often. And as far as when it hits me, it's when the two lines hit me. It can be any time of day. If I think of just a couple of lines that I get excited about, I just do my best to focus in on it. And it varies a lot.
Do you ever find if you're something incredibly important, you like, right, need to run and pick up a pen, write it on my arm or something?
Yeah, a little bit. I have a lot of things go into my phone just for that. A lot of them are bad. I have a song, I like to tell the story about a song called Since I Quit Drinking that I wrote. And it was a dumb thing that I said out loud. I am so embarrassed by it.
Never said that out loud.
In conversation, I said, I quit drinking. Which is such an embarrassing thing to say out loud.
That's a great line.
But it's a great line. But that one went right into the phone, and I knew I had this goofy thing. I took that and I turned it into something heartfelt and less embarrassing than actually just singing it literally.
Are you thought these songs kind of left out on the table now that you kind of coming back to your perspective on how to write these songs?
My perspective on all of my material has changed a lot over just the last 5 years, really. I've been writing since I was about 13. So there's a lot of high school stuff. But I kind of start logging my songwriting around when I was 19. Like I'll still revisit some of those songs. And I'm an outsider now, When I was 19, I had like dropped out of college. I was living in Boston in a building where I was just a totally different guy, and I wrote a lot. I still think have some merit, but I have no idea who wrote them, which is maybe like a goofy thing to say. But even a lot of the mountain country songs that are the melancholy breakup songs, I almost enjoy them the way I enjoy someone else's country song, just for being so ridiculous, maybe not always being personal to me.
Have you, especially those songs back when you were 19, have you ever looked at them and decided to create a new adaptation, a reboot, if you will, of your angsty teenage self?
I've never really done a reboot of any of them. If I have a show where I'm expected to play more than an hour, I dust them off and I play them kind of for me. Go somewhere where, I got to do 2 hours. I gotta find ways to keep it exciting for
Right.
me. And I'll go back to those ones. I do really get a kick out of it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about
Yeah,
that.
no, I was just kind of curious to know if you've ever kind of just chopped and changed a few bits and pieces from some of the older stuff to create some of the newer stuff. But as you were saying, if you then it might feel a little disingenuous to do that.
And I have a hard time chopping stuff up a little bit. Like there are lyrics from, I definitely steal my own chord progressions, but lyrically, I think there's some good stuff from songs that I maybe never recorded or really played, but they're kind of off the table for me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, it's like a weird purist attitude I have that that's where they belong, which is totally silly, but
You've got to stick to your morals on that one. With the new recording that you did come out, Different Tomorrow Night, you came out with a music video as well, which I got to watch before I came out tonight. There's a real retro feel to it, great sepia tones. Tell me a little bit about the recording of that. Who did you get to direct and produce it, and what were you going for in terms of the feel of the music video?
Yeah, that whole music video was shot and directed, who does a lot of incredible music videos around here and nationally. I've had gotten this question a couple of times. I didn't know what to go for with the music video. I wanted to keep it small. That was kind of something I didn't want to tell the story of the song, especially because I felt like the song Different Tomorrow Night really is a story. There's not much to it. So I didn't want to have like people acting out what was going on lyrically. That felt like it would be unnecessary. So that didn't leave me with too much. But I really wanted to make a video for it, and I really wanted to work with Kale. So we basically went up and threw around some ideas and got a bunch, stripped them all way down. And that video basically came out of an afternoon him and I spent together in my apartment, and we were just kind of chatting, and he was getting different shots of things. And then there's some footage of me, pretending to play, that he shot very beautifully. And then he kind of went off. I told him I'm not a great visual medium person. I don't really have the eye for it. But he kind of took the footage he had and went and shot some stuff around town on his own that he thought would be fitting. And I am so happy that he put together this like bleak video. I think he knew.
Right.
he knew what I wasn't quite saying, but I was just excited to let him take it and do whatever he wanted, as opposed to trying to manage it or get across some point. I wanted someone else to do, and I thought he did a really great job. I really liked that music video.
What I found quite fascinating about it is that I've never really seen focused on Burlington and Winooski and Vermont in general that isn't putting on a pedestal the fantastic nature of the place. It seems urban rural, kind of center of a rural townish, and a bit bleak. And it wasn't really a massive focus on the nature. Wasn't like front and center, which you don't see that very often when you see videos of or an interpretation of Vermont or Winooski or Burlington.
It's true. I like that about it. I think part of it, I live in Winooski, incredibly long time. I lived in Burlington for years, but the second I moved to Winooski, I started just like, I identify as a Winooski resident. I just felt much more at home there. And so, since that's where we started, and kind of got those shots from around Winooski, which has, especially in like late November, it's a little stark. And I think, Kale shot a lot of stuff in Burlington as well, but I think he did it to kind of fit the Winooski feeling, which I love.
Yeah, he certainly captured it. He captured it in a very unique way. I really liked it.
It's bleak around here. It's
right.
not always that nice.
Sometimes it is, yeah. Especially when you haven't seen leaves on the trees in months, and you've December.
Yeah, I remember I had to travel right around Thanksgiving, and I flew out of Burlington in the middle of a snowstorm. I keep on having that thought just because that's how long
Yeah.
This winter's been going on for, it's been really, really long. I think we're all doing a very good job considering long. It's been everyone's, for the most part, keeping their cool.
At the moment, give it another
Yeah.
couple of months.
I guess into February is when it falls. I think it's over.
Right.
They are wrong.
Well, I was listening to VPR earlier on today, and they were mentioning spring, and I looked out the window and saw 3 foot high, frozen to its core snowbank, and just like, I think you're kind of dreaming on this one.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real.
It does not indeed. Well, if you'd like to play maybe something to reflect the season.
Oh boy. I mean, don't they all? Give me just 1 second here, I apologize. This season is not kind to my guitar.
Imagine. Snapped strings galore.
So I think I'm gonna do a song called "Done My Time," which is the first song off the record that we put out. Gosh, a year and a half ago now. And yeah, it's a country tune.
All right. Take it away.
One second here. I wasn't calling to say I'm sorry. I was just calling along. And I wasn't called to beg you to see me. That call is always wrong. Now I ain't living for you, baby. No, I'm just living for the song. I wasn't calling to say I'm sorry. Who's right and you were wrong? So go ignoring your phone. You can make believe that you forgot. Old San Francisco, Christmas back home, breaking laws in parking lots. Back when you were gentle, baby, before you lost your mind. I wasn't calling to say I'm sorry. 'Cause I think by now I've done my time. Yeah, I think by now I've done my time.
Done my time there by Easter. So I did notice on your website that you're playing Waking Windows this year. Is this the first time you'll be playing Waking Windows? I can imagine not.
I have played every Waking Windows since it started. Is something I had to fact check myself. but I can't seem to. But I am 95% sure that I've played in some band or other every Waking Windows since it started. When it started off, it was kind of just a week-long festival at the Monkey House where just every night they had a really great bill, and that was the festival.
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing that. And yeah, it's always, I feel very fortunate that I've played so many of them. And for me, they've all been different in really cool ways. I think the same way they are for everyone who goes to that festival. But it never gets boring. I'm always so excited to be a part of it. And it gives me, I always try to do something a little different, which is nice. It gives me a little push to try to do something special, whether it's just, play an instrument that the band doesn't always have, or doing like weird arrangements. But I'm very excited, yeah.
It's certainly my favorite festival for me, just because it signals the end of, really truly the end of winter for me. Like start spring, really the start of summer and what comes with that in Burlington. And then it's just a fantastic local festival on that front. But someone that's been there from the very beginning, what's it like seeing the evolution of that festival change and morph into this gargantuan staple?
They're all friends of mine, so I'm very proud every year that it continues to grow. I know how hard these folks work, and how how good their intentions are, and how I can't comprehend it. I like to ask them questions. I try to get a little insider gossip, like maybe before the lineup is announced, see if I can get any. And then I'm always just so amazed at how much they're doing and how much they love it. Like, they're not. I imagine some festivals are a nightmare for the people who put them together, but the Waking Windows really believes in this thing that they do. And it's been incredible. And they're all amazing. Yeah. It's
never really felt like a cash grab as well. It's always felt like it's been a labor of love.
From the roots of it, for what's important to them. I think they get, and they love those big name acts when they get them. But I think they really love the community, and they love the local bands. They have done an incredible amount as a group, between the Monkey House, which, I played at hundreds of times. Patty Reagan from Paper Castles put me on some of my first good shows when I was 18. I had only played bad shows, and he gave me some of my first good ones. And Nick Mavadonis, huge support, and just one of the sweetest people. It's definitely not a cash grab. It is, it's their job, but they found something really beautiful to do with their time.
And so other than Waking Windows coming up this year, what other gigs are you really quite excited about?
Yeah, I'm excited about all of them because I haven't been playing very much. I did a little week-long tour around the Northeast in the fall, just by myself, doing solo shows, and then kind of gave myself a little break after a lot of shows last summer and fall. So I'm kind of gearing back up, and I'm excited about all the shows. We got one on March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, and also my sister Morgan's birthday.
More importantly, obviously.
Whatever. But that's going to be at the Ren Kitts, and a touring musician called Viking Moses, who is an old friend of mine named Brent, who I met when I was really just starting out writing songs. When I first started, I would go on message boards online and just post. I was 13, 14. Does anyone need a show in Burlington? I'll book one for you at the Radio Bean. So touring bands would email me, and I would book it. And he was one of those people who came through back then. And we've seen each other here and there throughout the years. But I'm very excited to share a bill with him and to see him. He's an incredible songwriter as well. A bit of a indie cult hero. kind of big in the like Deer Tick with all those folks, and I think it's just supported bands like Deer Tick and other folks so much that they've been able to really pursue what they're doing. So he's a very beautiful person. And that's, Lamp Shop on March 17th. And then the one after that, I should know the date on it, but I don't. It's in April with a friend of mine, Jeremy Quinton, who plays under the name Small Houses. And that'll be at the Monkey House. Jeremy's toured through here a lot, and he's played Waking Windows a couple times in Texas now. One of my favorite songwriters. I know a songwriter is good. Like, I bought his vinyl off of him, and I put it on, and I can, like, I love what I'm listening to, but I can totally disconnect it because, and just like be in the music because it's so good. So I'm very excited to have him in town. And then Waking Windows, and then we'll be kind of booking the summer after that, but we haven't quite started yet.
Right. And we've probably got about time for about one more song. Before I let you sing it, could you plug away about where people can find you, where people can listen to you, if you've got Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz?
Of course, yeah. Currently, I think you can find us on Spotify. I do put all of our releases up there for streaming. No one makes money off Spotify, but it's easy, and I love it when people do use it. And we're on Bandcamp, where you can pay money for that music if you want, or order our vinyl for pretty cheap if you don't live in town. You can also buy that same vinyl at most of the record stores in Burlington, like Pure Pop and Burlington Records. EasternMountainTime.com, Facebook.com/EasternMountainTime. Their handle is, but it's Eastern Mountain Time in some form. We're on all of them. I do my best to keep them updated. But it's out there. I'd say, I mean, I always just want people to give that. I know how I use Spotify. I use Spotify to check something out. It's right there. It's easy. My main hear it for just one song. That's where I'm at.
Go check them out. Eastern Mountain Time, and thank you so much, Sean, for coming in. It's
Thank
been a
you.
real pleasure listening to you play and hearing a little bit more about yourself. So, really appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure.
No worries. Well, what song have you got left to play us out?
I'm gonna play a song called "How I Live," which is the second B-side off the Different Tomorrow Night single. I like closing performances with it because it is a song about how I am grateful for the things I do have, so I'm not always griping about it. And it means a lot to me for that reason. I almost couldn't believe it when I was able to muster up some positive stuff to sing. Can you say GD on the radio?
I think you can. Jim, so I think we're okay.
All right, well, I got, I think, 2 of them in this song. Well, thank you again, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Thanks to everyone behind the scenes here. This is a real joy. This song is called "How I Live." Guess I'm looking for something ain't easy to find. Still believing there's something that ought to be mine. I couldn't tell you I don't like how I live, or want some of it. Now I got friends in the city, still looking for work. Damn near turned, I know that hurts. Funny as hell, and I love everyone. I hope that if I had some, I would give on some. tight Christmas coming, but my baby don't. She tells me about summer and everything's fine. And I remember I'm lucky. God damn it, she's kind. Might be lacking some things, but I've got this time. And I couldn't tell you I've been young. I'm glad that it's over. Glad that you've come.
Eastern Mountain Time playing us out with How I Live. Thank you once again so much for coming in. Really
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it. Catch us next week. We've got Eric George coming on the Rocket Shop, same time on the Radiator, the Rocket Shop. I've been your host, Tom Proctor, and good night.
Hey.
Cool. Well, thank you once again. man.
Thank you so much.
Really
That was
appreciate
great.
Woo! That was awesome.
Everyone doing all right?
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Real pleasure.
I'll tell Chris I gave you a grilling.
Oh, please do. I really thought he was just messing with me.
Nope. One of the first friends I made when I first came to Burlington.
Oh, really? He is so nice.
He's a hell of a character.
I really love him. We've done. I feel like we've only done weird shows together. Like we did the Reservoir and Waterbury
Oh, nice.
last winter. Like always just random spots that aren't quite shows.
Right.
But he's always just such a positive joy.
I mean, I love his humour, man. And he's also lived on his couch for like 3 weeks at one point.
He seems like that kind
Who
of
is
guy.
this?
He very much is. Anyway, I gotta get.
Hey, number one, who is this you're talking about? Should we bring him in?
Oh, Chris? Chris, we've had him
Chris
before.
Farnsworth, Zeus Springsteen.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Dino
okay, yeah,
Bravo.
okay, yeah, okay. Second thing is, are you ever available on Tuesday nights?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking 1 week maybe switching this to a Tuesday night. No, Malmais, the Cuban,
Yeah.
Costa Rican. They have practice right over here, but he can't do Wednesday nights.
Oh, no
So we
shit,
might just
yeah.
try Tuesday night sometime.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to tell Z about that, man. She loves that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us a shot
Okay.
whenever.
Yeah,
it.
we'll figure it out. It won't be in the next.
Tuesday's
couple
actually
weeks.
better than Wednesday for me, if I'm going to be honest with you. So, maybe we'll walk around the rocket shop.
Alrighty.
See you
Great.
guys later.
Nice to meet you. Have a good night.
I study abroad in Costa Rica, so I would love to meet this band you're talking about.
They practice on Tuesday nights somewhere in this building. They were trying to explain where it was, but it's like I told you, this place is a maze. That direction.